Hello, this is Dival. I am the creator of Body Mind. Welcome to my channel. If you want to explore a little bit more about what the body mind technique is or how my sessions work, I encourage you to also explore my body and mind.la fan page. You can also email me if you want to have a private session, and my email will be body.mind.kelly@gmail.com. That will be in the bottom of your screen, so you can also have that email for future reference. So today I am doing this video to make an invitation and also an exploration in all of us as humanity. Last week I was sharing a live video in my Facebook page, and the live video was about the 3 stations that I discovered or I was observing from my point of view that we are experiencing right now with the staying at home. So for you maybe it can be scary just because everything is different and everything changed. And for most of the humans, change, even if it's something that is nice because it's new, that also can be something that is scary. That's where this first stage starts. I don't want to focus so much in the stage number 1 because that's the one we want to get rid of. We want to step forward and try to keep working in getting to the stage number 3, so then we can kind of get up evolution as a community. So the stage number 1 is where every of us started. We started in a moment of not knowing what was happening, not knowing what to do, and kind of being afraid of what was going to come next. We kind of experienced that fear for the first week, but once we start to learning what was happening or the reason why we were being part of this transformation, everything started to clear up, and we started to enjoy more the experience of staying at home and understanding what that was, the purpose of that. The station number 2 is one of the most important ones because that's kind of the first step of getting ahead of the fear, which is the reconnection. The opposite emotion and the opposite vibration of the fear will be love. Now, the station number 3 is kind of one of the highest levels that we as humans can be, because we are not going to be trapped anymore in any economical systems, or we are not going to be trapped in if I am accepted or if I am not. Because in this stage, everything will come from a super genuine way. Now, the expectations are not the ones that are leading our actions. This third stage, I call it the giving. So when we give, we make a change. When we make a change, we're being part of this transformation because we are being one with Mother Nature. We are being one with this entire change. Now let's break it down. Let's start defining and exploring stage by stage. Like I said, I'm not going to focus on the stage number 1. Hopefully you are out of there. But let's focus in the station number 2. How we can proceed, how we can continue, and how we can gain so much from the stage number 2. We, at this moment of life, have so many tools that we can use. And if we think about what a reconnection means, try to think in a moment where you remain in silence and you can listen every organ of your body. You can close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel how your blood moves, how your systems works together, how your body is aligned with your mind, how your thoughts are aligned with your body, how your emotions are aligned with your body. In this station number 2, we can try to go back to the ancient practices like yoga. We can also be part of being active with our bodies by doing exercise. We can also use another ancestral knowledge that in my personal experience and my personal life, I usually use a lot, which is the connection with the gemstones. There is another ancestral knowledge about the plants, so that is also aligned with nutrition. Maybe this is a great opportunity for us to learn how to eat. We can explore the healing in our bodies by using these plants and by cooking with plants. Vegetarian diets are strongly recommended for a healthy diet. Now, these tools that I just mentioned before are resources, but also are part of the Mother Nature message. What we are experiencing now is a message from Mother Nature, which is telling us to stop for a second, to observe what we have, to be grateful with what we have, and to use it in a way that we can be better for us and for others. Now, at this point, yes, we understand we have resources. Yes, we know that we have the access of those resources. Just in my channel, you can find a bunch of videos of different yoga practices or different body-mind activations. You can have resources everywhere. What is the importance of using these resources in this stage number 2? Like I said, and when I was starting to explain the stage number 2, this is a moment of recognition and reconnection. Recognition is identifying who is myself. Reconnection is understanding what different parts of my different bodies are and how those are connected. If we sit all day long in a chair, in the couch, laying on the bed, watching TV, or playing games, you probably can say, well, Dival, that's a way to spend my time because you like to have fun. Yes, but you also want to grow because now it's not just about you. It's about the whole community. We need and we must grow individually so we can grow in a community. This is not anymore about just you. This is all about us. When we receive a message through practices, because that's what happens when you start doing those practices, when you start doing yoga, when you start doing meditations, when you start connecting with gemstones, again, I can mention different thousands of practices that you can do, and that will be depending on what you feel more comfortable with and what you feel more tuned with. But when you start doing those practices, you see how a whole world will open. You need to move from the stage number 1 to the stage number 2. You need to understand who you are. When you find the practice that you connect with the most, then you can be part of this transformation and this message of being grateful with Mother Nature and taking care of yourself. We humans, we born with a perfect body. We were healthy, we were strong, we have our minds that we could fill with a bunch of positive things and positive thoughts. But over the practice of life, what happened is that we destroyed many of the atoms, many of the cells in our bodies. Just by the simple one of not taking care of your body, not eating well, not doing exercise, or not drinking water. If you think of that, it's kind of basic stuff because you need to feed yourself in order to live. Just like I said, everything is linked, right? So when you have a full activation of your body, usually your mind is clear. Usually what happens is that it comes to you beautiful emotions and beautiful thoughts about others, about yourself. You feel strong, you feel empowered, you feel loved, you feel that you want to gain more. This is also because there is a chemical function in our bodies. And whenever we have these positive thoughts, we produce a neurotransmission that is called serotonin. When we are producing serotonin, what happens also is that we will inhibit the negative or the bad side of our behaviors. Will be, for instance, aggressiveness or depression or anxiety or those kind of things. When we don't let this lovely environment to feed our bodies and our minds, it will happen the opposite. We can literally do mutations in our bodies by changing the pH of it. Let's focus on the positive, which is how we start the whole thing. How to gain better practices, how to find the practices that make us being more reconnected with ourselves. Let's say that we already find the practice, and let's say that we are already doing all of these practices and finding the identification of ourselves. What is exactly what we want to find? And this is just the way that I learned it, because it really resonated a lot with me, make a lot of sense, and that's the way that also I explain to others, and I do therapies based on this. We want to focus on 5 different processes in our lives. You can call this as a processes, or in the best way that I understand it is that we have 5 angles, like a pentagon. So the first angle that we want to find is the life purpose. Interesting, we have heard that before for sure. The second angle we want to discuss is the destiny. We are going to find another definition that maybe was not the one that we were expecting. The other angle, or the third angle, will be the mission. The angle number 4 will be the function, and the angle number 5 will be the intention. So let's start discovering what the life purpose is. So when it comes to the purpose in our lives, it's pretty much to be the masters of our spiritual path. We already have experience with our souls, right? This is the way that you can get better in this spiritual path that you have been looking and you have been working for many lives. Usually it comes with a lovely message. When you focus on your purpose, you are always giving to others and to yourself a lovely message. You are learning how to be happy, how to enjoy life, and how to be comfortable with yourself. The second angle that we want to discover in this process of recognition is the destiny. For some people, the understanding of destiny is more related with fate and with a situation that you are kind of assured that you will experience, that you will live. Destiny really, in this sense of these 5 angles, is what is getting the most difficult for you to experience. So it's pretty much what you came to this reincarnation, to this life, to learn from. At some point, do you find yourself with some issues or troubles to have your financial life in balance, or your lovely life in balance, or having issues trying to find a partner because always kind of you keep repeating the same patterns? This is a great question to work hard with your destiny. The third angle of this pentagon is something that people talk a lot, but I will give you another approach to this, which is the mission. In the sense of these angles that I'm talking about, to be able to reconnect with yourself and align yourself in this process, mission is more linked to what it is easy for you, what you already find that is comfortable for you to do. So the mission will be literally the opposite of destiny. If destiny is the hardest thing for us to do, the mission will be the nice thing to do. What we enjoy, what we feel that we can approach super easy, and that will help us to live life in a lovely way. It's kind of part of the process of if you are good on this, you can probably work with that in the sense of making money or in the sense of, having kind of some interaction with material world. But if you want to grow in your spiritual path, you want to really focus so hard in your destiny. How you can find what is the difference between your destiny and your mission, or even more, how you can find what is your destiny? Just sit down with yourself and write down what for you is hard to get. Now here comes the fourth angle of the pentagon. This one is a little bit tricky to understand. It took me, and it still takes me, a while to kind of put it down and understanding the process of my personal life. And it's called the function. What function is pretty much is the same way that we can interpret the same word right now. It's the certain work or labor that you will do, and that you will receive something in exchange of that. Right there, simple. What is the tricky part of the function? I will give you an example. A person who maybe lives in the street, so we will judge the person because he's consuming drugs and because he's just asking for money and he's not doing anything for himself or herself. That is his or her function. It's showing us where we don't want to stand from. When I am doing the function that I'm supposed to do because that was aligned with my purpose and my mission, and also kind of aligned with my destiny. If I'm doing the function that I'm supposed to do, I will get in exchange for my personal survivals what I need. Let's say that I like to give massages in their people's feet, but people don't really like or pay for giving feet massage because that is not something that is important for them. But that's what I have been told in my soul to do. So I start doing feet massages. If socially or culturally this activity is not paid for, universe is going to move in a certain way that it will assure me that I will get my basic things to survive. And what I want to get with this function description is we want to learn what we are supposed to do, because it's not necessarily our mission, the function. Because mission is something we like to do, but function sometimes is not necessarily our mission. It can be related with the destiny. It can be related with the purpose. So we need to explore that. That's why it's so important to understand each angle and see how our lives are working aligned with each other. So what I want to bring up in the tricky part is that not everyone identify their functions, therefore are not able to keep themselves in balance in the material world. If I think that my function is to be a doctor, but I have so hard time finding jobs as a doctor, maybe it's because my function is not led by being a doctor. All of us also have different functions. Even the people who we can define with the worst adjectives, murderers or rapers. I mean, everyone has a function. Are we going to like all the functions necessarily? Well, no. Are here because the nature needs every person to play a role in this society, so then we can grow in different ways? Yes. And now the last angle I was talking about is the intention, if you remember. Now, what the intention is. I like to define intention as this platonic definition of we being dreamers. What is inside of your heart that you really love so much? What is inside of your soul that kind of push you to do something? It can be a hobby, it can be an activity, it can be really anything. What usually happens with the intention is that we don't express that necessarily to the outside. Sometimes because we are afraid to be judged by what people think about us, or sometimes because can be not even accepted in society. But this is the part that also is important to understand. Even if I express my intentions, I will need to follow along with the spiritual laws. In the spiritual laws, we have different laws, and one of those laws is the correspondency law. When I have an intention, but this intention can at some way hurt a group of people or even an individual, or is not meant to happen just yet in that moment, universe will do everything to stop that happen, just because the correspondence law. If at this particular moment, if at this present time, my intention, even if it's something good, even if it's something for the well of the whole entire humanity, but I am not ready, or humanity is not ready, what will happen is that universe will block the situation and it won't happen. I think that just until now, we have a lot of information to process. And this is part of what my intention with this video is. If it's well received, well, that's my correspondence. Like I mentioned in just the very beginning, we need to move from the first stage as soon as we can to the second stage of recognition, of reconnection with ourselves. And when we find the practices, and then when we find the ways, now we have the tools and the understanding of these 5 angles, so that we can keep working in jumping for the next step and the next stage, which is the giving. If we align ourselves, if we understand the importance of this second stage of recognition, if we understand this process of aligning our purposes with our missions, with our destinies, with our functions and our intentions, and if we figure it out how we can evolve in this process of life, we are going to make a huge step, because that's what we are ready to give. I don't think that it will happen overnight, because it's a process, but this time is a perfect moment. It was given for the universe, from the mother nature, from God. You can name the way that you want, but it was given, and we are living it. It's a real experience. It's a real situation. This is not a movie. The entire world is frozen, and it's frozen for you. So you can take the option of staying in the first stage and just living there, or you can start moving forward. You can start finding the way that you can reconnect with yourself, so then you can also connect with others. And this kind of end of this station number 2 is just to make us aware of all the tools that we have, and that we are ready. We are ready. That leads us to the station number 3, the giving. Are you ready to give in exchange of all the blessings that you have already received from the Mother Nation over your life? If you want to be part of this transformation, please share this video with everyone that you know. We are so ready to reconnect with ourselves. It's time for us to give some of what we have received from Mother Nature.